Time now for Focus, and today we're taking a closer look at the election in Iran that we've been reporting on with a special report from our team in Tehran. They crisscrossed the capital during a campaign dominated by the issues of corruption and inequality. Many Iranians saying 2015's nuclear deal hasn't yielded the promised economic benefits. Mariam Pirzadeh and Josh Vardey report.
This is Tajrish, at the head of the Valiaz Avenue in northern Tehran. 1 square metre of an apartment here can cost several thousand euros. This is also the location of one of the city's main bazaars, where Iranians come to spend. Leila owns a small boutique in a side street. She's voting this Friday and is urging her friends to do the same in order to improve women's rights in the country.
This vote is very important for me. I don't want a repeat of the 8 years we had under Ahmadinejad. Those 8 years were really hard for me. The problem for women here isn't the headscarf. Our problems are in people's opinions. That's what needs to change. When change comes, big things will happen in our country.
Ali and his friends have followed the campaign closely. Ali is a theatre actor. He believes that culture has become more free, but he's still worried about Friday's vote.
Every day we talk about the elections, on the phone, on the internet and with each other. We're afraid that what happened in 2009 will happen all over again.
With brand new buildings, a commercial centre and luxury cars, Tehran's north is a shop window for foreign business. Global brands have based themselves here to sell to Iranians. This gallery and its luxurious garden is one of the biggest in the capital.
Every artist would like to have a free environment, and they want to have an open space to be able to continue their artistic work. As you know, you can't put art in a box. Saying that we haven't moved forwards on this would mean the end of our work. All those who work in art clearly want their situation to improve.
25 kilometers along the road lies the Shush neighborhood. Here, huge inflation combines with an unemployment rate of 27% for those under 35 years old, all factors that have increased social inequality in this neighborhood. It angers Mehdi, and he says he won't vote this Friday.
A kilo of meat is 10 euros, a kilo of rice is 3 euros, and a litre of petrol is 25 cents. Life has become hard in Iran. There's no guarantee for tomorrow. Now I try to take 50 cents less from my clients than the fixed price of the state, because here there are people without money who can't afford anything.
In this poorer neighborhood in southern Tehran, residents are concerned about one thing above all: their purchasing power.
The price of life is breaking our backs. Firstly, access to basic commodities. There are many people who cannot build a life. They find it hard to pay their rent, for example.
Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, Iran's former president from 2005 to 2013, has a lot of support here. These sociologists say that people here are currently threatened with eviction.
The land area here is small. The town hall ruled that these houses were dilapidated and they put in place a renovation scheme that will lead to their destruction. These people already don't have a lot of means, and now they have an additional pressure to leave their homes. They're going to need to live in the suburbs further south because they can't afford to live in a neighborhood which will be renovated.
The pair say inequality between the north and south of the capital has become increasingly visible. This has been widely mentioned during the presidential campaign, and it's to this disadvantaged class that Conservative candidate Ebrahim Raisi has pitched part of his campaign.
Money and wealth have become very important in this country. These two factors determine the edge between the upper and lower social strata. Underprivileged people experience this very badly. That is what threatens our society. If we want peace and stability in our society, we must reduce these wealth gaps.
Voter participation is generally lower in southern Tehran. These elections are not expected to be an exception.
For more on this, I'm now joined in the studio by Azadeh Kian. She teaches political science here in Paris and is an expert on Iran. Hello, thank you very much indeed for your time. Now, we just broadcast a report there on voter concerns in Tehran, the capital. Are they representative of voter concerns nationwide?
I think they are. They are because there are a lot of minorities, both ethnic and also religious minorities, for instance, who live in Tehran. Tehran has over 12 million inhabitants. A lot of them are voters, of course, and they kind of reflect the reality of the society everywhere else because due to the education and higher education everywhere in the country, we are faced with a homogenized kind of society with more or less the same demands. For instance, unemployment is a concern everywhere in Iran, especially for youth, that is overwhelmingly also well educated. Or, for instance, inflation and other issues. Or, for instance, if you take the issue of freedom as a concern, it also concerns youth and women and other people elsewhere in the country. So Tehran actually, yes, represents the voting behavior of the rest of the country.
You mentioned the country's youth a few times because, of course, this is a young country, many people under the age of 25, under the age of 35. Just how important, then, is the youth vote, and do we have an idea already of which way they're going?
Yes, youth is important because people vote from the age of 18 onwards. There are a lot of young people who vote for the first time this year, tomorrow. And it seems that a lot of these young people will vote for Rouhani. They are mobilizing to vote for Rouhani for the very reason that they want the economic program and reforms of Rouhani to continue, this opening to the outside world to continue, foreign investors to go and invest in the country in order to also create jobs or renew industries and so on, but also the issue of freedom and civil society, because the point is that Rouhani has promised not only men and women's equality, but also a more important, stronger civil society. So it seems that a lot of young people, some of whom, of course, are not very happy with Rouhani's 4-year presidency, have now mobilized to vote for Rouhani against the fundamentalist Raisi.
Now, when people say they haven't felt the economic benefits of 2015's Tehran nuclear deal, that, of course, was only signed 2 years ago. Is it really long enough for the benefits to even be felt? And isn't that a major thing in this campaign, to argue that Rouhani needs more time for these benefits to be felt?
Absolutely, you're right, because the end of international sanctions is January 2016. It's less than 2 years, actually. And besides, American sanctions still continue, and Iran's banking system is still sanctioned by the Americans, which kind of made Europeans, for instance, who are quite interested in going to investing in Iran to hold back because they do not want to be sanctioned by the United States. Nonetheless, what you see is that oil exports have gone up, gas exports have gone up, and also petrochemical exports, and Rouhani was able to create 600,000 jobs per year, including 200,000 jobs for women who had overwhelmingly lost their jobs under Ahmadinejad's government, the populist former presidents. So you can't say that there have not been any change, but it takes time for these reforms and job creation and so on. And lower class people, of course, do not necessarily see the consequences of these reforms, and their youth remain unemployed, and the inequalities have increased. Nonetheless, the response to this is not what the populist Raisi, the fundamentalist candidate, is promising, that is to increase subsidies or, for instance, to create 5 million jobs from one day to the other. People really realize that this cannot be done quickly, and that Rouhani needs time to implement change.
Still, some people are feeling so left out or dissatisfied that they're not going to vote. We heard from a hairdresser, Mehdi, in that report, who said he's not going to vote tomorrow. Is that a concern, the abstention rate?
Yes, but these people, as was also mentioned in the report, have not voted extensively in the past elections either. It seems to me that especially middle-class people in large towns or even middle towns who overwhelmingly voted for Rouhani in 2013 are now really mobilizing to vote, but lower-class people who are not satisfied with Rouhani's mandate, 4 years presidency, or his reforms might not vote, but they won't vote for Raisi, the fundamentalist rival, but they might not vote. It seems to me that the rate of participation rate will be quite high, around 70%.
Okay, well, we really appreciate you taking the time to come to talk to us on this eve of the presidential election in Iran. Thank you very much, Azadeh Kian, for coming in. And thank you for watching. Stay tuned. I'll be back in a few minutes.